Hello everybody, I am Miss Bethany,
And I'm Miss Rachel.
and today we are going to be doing a blanket weave? Is that
Yeah,
what it is?
yeah,
Or
a
bulky knitting.
bulky knitting. That's what this is called. We're going to work on making a blanket or a shawl or something. We're kind of winging this.
Whatever happens,
Yeah.
however it ends up.
So we've already started it to kind of get a sense of what it is. You make a bunch of loops. We're gonna go step by step by this, but a bunch of loops, and then you just keep going until it's as big as you want it to get. Now, this ball of yarn, this is like the chunky knit yarn that you can do by hand. I think this was about $6, $6.50 a skein, so it can be kind of pricey, but one skein I think is big enough to make a scarf.
And it is so much fun to do.
And really it's very soft and fluffy. It's really, really nice. So what we're going to do, so our little starter right here,
we're going to unravel
We're going to unravel it completely. Have you take that end here? Let's unravel this.
it's so easy to
There we go. Okay, you want to undo that knot.
Okay. I'm good with knots. Ish.
It's so fluffy and nice. It reminds me of.
I said it negative. You said it positive. Like this is a fluffy. It's hard to remember.
Well, do you remember that strain on like The Secret of Nim? Have you ever watched that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that bird was so infatuated with strain. This is awesome. So okay.
Here you go.
So the first thing you're going to do, you have the end of your strain. You're gonna make a loop, and I'm kind of forgetting how to do this. Almost kind of making a noose. Is that the best way? That's not the best way to describe it. Okay, so I'm gonna get a little bit closer to show what I did. Okay, so we've got a loop here, and we're gonna take a line here and pull it through, and there's your starter knot. And then I'm gonna pull on this to make it smaller, and you want it no bigger than 4 fingers to fit through. Okay? So there we go.
Awesome.
Okay, next step. You tell us next step. That way I'm not the only one talking.
So the next step involves going through and just pulling your string through your first pull. And again, doing about 4 finger length. So and then you just kind of, this is difficult to explain. You take that second loop that you created, and then you once again go through with another loop. I go again 4 fingers, and then pull through once more. I'm not the best at explaining this.
So yeah, you're making
a chain.
Yeah, a chain link. So hold up on that. So you've got your loop. You're pulling this through in order to make another loop here.
And it kind of makes this pretty looking braid.
So you keep going until it's as long as you want it as your scarf or blanket to be wide.
And we're going to do roughly 25 of these.
Yeah. Are you keeping track? Because I'm not.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is this 8?
I think so.
8.
9. Okay, so now we can keep track of numbers. 9, 10. I'm gonna lower it down a little bit so that I'm not hanging up. Yeah. Okay.
It's a lot of fun. It really is.
11, 12.
And it's okay if some of them don't look as narrow. Some of them will look a little wider, and that's okay.
Yeah. And the more you do it, the easier it will get for it to be all consistently one size each of your loops. I'm learning how to knit, normally with like the tiny yarn, and
is it easier knowing how to do this?
No, it's not at all. They're like 2 separate things because you're using the knitting sticks and.
This is with your hands, which is a lot easier because you can grab it and pull it through with your fingers.
Oh, I lost count.
Oh no. Okay. I'll count. 1, 2, 3. Oh no.
It's okay.
1, 2, 3, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19?
19. Okay, yay. 20. Okay. So 5 more, or however long if we want to go a little bit longer, we can. 20.
I think 25 was good, because that was the length of the table, and we don't want to go much farther than the length of the table. I'm going to move these
20.
2 skeins up here.
2, 23, 24, 25. Okay, so we've made our entire first line. Okay, and then we have,
Cool.
and so we've got a hoop on the very end here. And what we're going to do, we're going to act as if we're going to make it even longer. So we're going to put it through, and so you've got one more hoop right here. But that's the start of our next line. So it's easier to have a table and flatten it out. So we've got line 1 of our first hoop of our second line.
And again, you're going to still try to go through the 4 fingers, maybe a little narrower, depending on how you like it.
Okay. Let's move this up a little bit closer. So when you start your second line, we have 2 cameras, and I'm trying to have it show on both. So the top
loop of
the braid here, you fit that through and make a second loop right there. Okay? And then we're going to keep going until we go back to the end. So loop.
At the end, you should have another 25 loops on the top of the blanket. I'm going to put it back down. It's a lot easier when
it's a lot easier to do this on the table. So pull that through.
Trying to have all these braids flattened out the right way.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit twisted here. Yeah, there we go.
It does. It looks exactly like a braid to me.
Okay, so I'm going to pull this through.
I can do it for a little bit, if you'd like.
Yeah.
Or are you having fun?
I'm having
I
fun.
can step back and you can...
Well, I won't do it the entire... I'll go till here, and then you can have it turn. Yeah. It's easier to have 2 people doing this since it is so thick, long and thick of a yarn. Especially if you decide to go with a blanket of some sort.
Because it's going to, at least, I feel like it might take up this entire table.
Well, at least if we're going to make a shawl of some sort. I don't know.
However it ends up. That's how it'll end up.
Here we go. Read any good books lately, Bethany?
Well,
or watched any good movies?
I started watching The Handmaid's Tale. I don't really recommend it because I read that graphic novel that we have on the kids side. I did like the graphic novel.
You mean on the teen side? We don't have that on the kids side. That is not appropriate for kids.
Yes, that's not appropriate. Never mind. It's definitely not appropriate. It's
just putting that out there. The 411. We're not.
It's a very good book to read, but I only recommend it for mature audiences because it's bad.
Kind of dark. Well, it is like a dystopian future thing.
Yeah.
I think the show is rated R.
It is most definitely rated R. Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Okay,
I started watching it on Hulu. I'm not sure I really want to keep going. So are the loops going underneath?
Yes.
With the top? Yes. Okay.
You want to try to keep consistency. So, I started by going under on the loops. So, you want to keep doing that. If you do go over, do it however you think best. But it's a lot of fun once you get the hang of it. It's not too difficult.
What about you, Rachel? Have you read any good books?
I am currently reading Pirate Latitudes by Matthew Crichton, however you pronounce that name. He's the guy who wrote Jurassic Park.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like pirate stuff.
Hold it still. Yeah, you just have to pull on it.
Okay, it's working.
It's working. It just it doesn't want me to pull it through with one hand. I also read a book that we could get through ILL. It was called The Wicked and the Divine.
The Wicked and the Divine.
It's a fiction book about if gods roamed the earth, if they were born into society every 100 years. And I think that it was a really good story.
Mhm.
I enjoyed it very much. I'm actually waiting for the second volume of it now. I don't know. I haven't been reading as much lately. I watched a movie yesterday. It had Paul Walker in it.
Which one was that?
It was called Black Mansions. Have you ever heard that one?
Brick
Mansions. Brick Mansions. That's it.
I haven't watched it. I know that was the final movie he did before he died. Well, that plus the last Fast and Furious. Like he was shooting both of those at the same time before he died.
It was a good one. Yeah. So I recommend that one too.
Okay.
I don't know. I finished a video game.
Yeah.
I was disappointed.
I've been playing The Sims 4. I like building houses.
Isn't that fun? I've always loved The Sims. This is a time-consuming thing. It will take a little bit of time, but it is very fun once you get to the end result.
Actually, it's pretty fun, as you do it. Too.
Yes, it is.
It's not too complicated. So now you just go through.
Oh, let's count the loops real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. We have 24.
So that.
Oh, I need one more loop.
Yep.
It's always good to stop and count and make sure that you have all of your loops done. Do I? Did I do all the loops?
It's okay. So we're missing a loop
somewhere. Lost in translation, apparently.
It's okay. We have 24. 24 works. So we've got our first line. We've got our first line of loops. And so you're going to start your third line by doing the same thing that you've done with the first loop line, but it's all through the loops. So it's like much easier this way with starting on the second line, just because you're just going through the hoops that you have already created.
You're right. This is a lot easier. I recommend probably pulling the line out with the direction that you're going. This is a lot. This is nice. I enjoy this. This is like calming.
Well, that's because it's like all fluffy.
Yes, it's very soft. Very soft.
If we decide we want to make it bigger than what the skein of yarn that we have is, then we'll tie it onto another skein that we have and make an even bigger blanket, shawl.
Whatever this is going to turn out to be. We'll name it when it's done.
Yeah. Maybe we should have had a pattern, but I like winging stuff.
Yeah. It's fun. Okay, I'm about halfway. You can keep going.
Awesome.
I'm going to take these and start rolling them into a ball of yarn. Or do you want to leave them like this?
Either way is fine.
Okay. But that way I'm doing something while you're weaving.
Yeah.
Is that what this is? Is it weaving or knitting?
I think it is technically knitting, because weaving would be, one line back and forth with another line. Weaving is a whole other thing. This is, this is knitting.
Okay.
But it's much easier than regular knitting, just because it's huge and your arms are the knitting needles.
Yeah.
I called them sticks earlier. Why did I do that? They're knitting needles. I know that.
I used to know how to crochet when I was a kid.
That's cool.
My grandma taught me. And now I do not know how to crochet anymore.
Well, skills are perishable. So if you don't continue to practice, then you're going to lose them. Kind of like with reading. Shameless plug there. Read, everybody, read.
And it doesn't matter what you read. You could read a magazine. You could read a graphic novel. Nobody's going to judge you if you prefer graphic novels. I love graphic novels. I really do. And we've got lots of fun classics here too. We've got a couple manga versions of fairy tales, and we've got I've got 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea on the kids' side.
And I've got Jane Austen novels and
I read Les Mis.
Les Mis.
Yeah. That's it.
Les Miserables, I believe is the
Is that how
pronunciation.
you?
By Hugo Weaving. We have that in manga form. It's actually cool.
I really enjoyed it.
And then
Also, I think I read.
know we have Wuthering Heights in not in manga form, but in graphic novel form. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so we're working on line 4. This is line 4. So it will take a while, but look at that. Look at that lovely.
It's almost as thick as a scarf.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why I think we could weave this completely, and cut it off right here with how thick this is, and I don't want to lift, but it's long enough to almost be a scarf. So you made it a little bit longer, it would be a decent length for a scarf. We're making scarves in the middle of summer, but hey, you have something for winter, or a gift for Christmas. I know Christmas seems far away, but it's July.
Uh-oh. Looks like they knotted this one. They must have accidentally cut it.
Maybe. It's okay. But you can see, with how thick this is, if you make a mistake and cut it off and like, oh, I want to make this bigger, just knot it off, and you can barely tell because of how thick it is.
It's so fluffy, really. It's very, very fluffy.
You know,
I would say that the strand inside of it is probably the normal strand of yarn. There we go. Here's a second ball of yarn.
Mm-hmm. You want to keep going, and I'll try to untangle this thing here, because looks like our phone is ringing. So you keep up with this, I will film.
All right.
How's it going?
Wonderful.
That phone call. I needed to take it. So
Yeah, that's fine.
So I go to the Boys and Girls Club every week, and I guess they have a conflict for tomorrow, so I had to reschedule. So
What are you going to do at the Boys and Girls Club tomorrow?
I have no clue. So I did elephant toothpaste and that traveling water experiment.
Traveling water?
Well, like you have 2 cups of water, of colored water,
Oh, yeah.
and then you
can do
put
a
some
rainbow
paper
with it.
towels in there and you can do a rainbow. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Now I'm trying to, I'm not sure. Like I said, I like winging it, and I kind of do. So, but they did like the Mad Libs I did with like fairy tales, so I might print out some more Mad Libs for us to do.
Okay. Do they like crafts, or do you like the Mad Lib type thing more?
I haven't tested any crafts. They might enjoy some crafts. Yeah, we're reaching the end of that skein. We're not even close to a blanket. So yeah, I'm glad I got some extra skeins.
This is a lot easier than I thought it would be, now that I've been doing it for a while.
Yeah. Things always look difficult at first, but yeah, it's super, super easy to do this. You can also find, if you just type in bulky knitting online on like Google or Pinterest, you'll find even better tutorials than what we can do here. But it's pretty cool.
And also, a neat thing that we realized when we opened these, on the inside of the label for these, there are instructions for how to do different versions. Like you can use 3 of these to create a pillow, which I don't know how that would look, but I bet it would be super soft and fluffy.
Yeah. And then I think one of the other ones was actually a scarf instructions, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
actually scarf instructions. So, yeah.
Okay, do you want to continue or should I
Sure.
keep going?
We're really popular today.
Yeah. Do you think I should tie this one off to that one?
No, what we'll do, we'll finish off the ends of this thing and kind of, because I know this video is starting to get a little bit long. So we'll finish off this skein and show you how to weave it, the end. Actually, we'll do one more line and then we'll weave off the ends to show you how to do that. That way we're not taking up too much of your time. I know some people like long videos, some are like, get over it already. So.
But I know I've had fun doing this.
Yeah, this is fun. Okay, there you go.
They like falling out.
Yeah, so one of the things you have to keep out, watch out. So if you pull on these too easily, it'll, as you saw in the very beginning of this video,
it's very easy
to unravel stuff. So keep
your
an eye out.
sanity will unravel if it starts unraveling. The two people working on this, I bet it takes around 30 minutes for one person to do this.
Well, I think this video is about 20-25 minutes long already. So, I mean, if you prepare for this to take at least an hour, if not more, to get to where, if you want a full size, shawl or blanket or something. Because, yeah, it's been 20 minutes and we've gotten, this far. But,
and I've seen the videos where on YouTube they'll do a huge blanket and they'll speed up the video because of how long it actually takes.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure they put in the descriptions, oh, this took me, 5 hours to do. Okay, so we're going to show you how to weave off the ends. So I believe it's, you hoop through the first one like you're starting a new line, but then this will loop around the second loop. So I believe, I'm not entirely sure. Should have looked at better instructions for this.
No, I think you're right. I think you keep going.
Or it might be instead of making the second. 1 second. Wait. Okay, so you've got your end loop. You're gonna wrap that around one loop. Oh, there we go. Here, I figured it. Sorry. I completely blanked on it, but now I remember. Okay.
You remember?
Yes. So you have your end loop, and you're gonna put it around the second loop. So you've just gotten rid of one loop. And then you're gonna do the same thing all the way down the line. Okay?
Okay. This is a neat look. Is it a scarf? Have we decided it's just going to be a scarf for this video?
Yeah, and we might undo the end and make it bigger if we want to do a blanket later, but this way we're not taking too much time for people because, yeah, it's about 25 minutes long so far. Okay, keep doing that.
I think it looks really cute.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do you do the very end?
I know you're supposed to be able to tie it off.
This is super easy once I've seen you do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you tie it off. I think we've done something wrong because this end is down here as opposed to up there. Well, I don't know if this craft is a fail or it's kind of worked or if it's...
We're experiencing some technical difficulties.
Yeah. I highly recommend looking this up on YouTube. There are a lot of bulky knitting tutorials that are a lot better than what we've done. Should have looked at those instructions a lot better. But
specifically the last step.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for watching our video.
Yeah. And we'll see you next week with our whichever craft we decide to do next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.